right. Good morning, everyone. Good late morning to you, or maybe good evening to you if you're watching today's episode of Real Living in Nashville on Demand. Um, every time I play that tune as a lead in to our episodes, I'm going to share with you a secret. Um, Even though maybe you don't see me yet, I'm always kind of line dancing in place. Because I don't know, the music just motivates me to do that. It's either line dancing in place or before I physically bring you guys into the episode, I'm kind of like moving around in my office doing the two-step. And I can see my co-host Denise. She's laughing at me. Okay, Denise, you can laugh at me. So all of that being said, let's bring my co-host, wonderful Denise LaGrange, into today's conversation.
Good morning.
Hello, Denise.
Good morning from Nashville.
Yeah, right on, right on. Before I ask the obvious question, I know you had a great week.
I did.
Yes, because you celebrated another trip around the sun.
Exactly. That's a really great way to say it.
Yeah, another trip around the sun. And then from your social, I saw that you had three wonderful men celebrating the big celebration with you. That's wonderful.
That was my two sons and my daughter's boyfriend. That daughter was in Napa.
Oh,
She was in Napa with her girlfriends, and my youngest is in medical school, so she couldn't be there. So they all filled in, and it was lovely.
That's wonderful. So yeah, you're the sole woman at the party.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah,
it was great.
Love it. Let's lead in to today's conversation as we always do, where I want to get your feedback as to right now this week. We know this. Things are changing with the business of real estate. We'll get to that in a minute. But are there any changes right now as far as the real estate market? Is it still a balanced market, tipping one way or the other for you?
Well, so I think before the last couple of weeks, it was definitely tipping toward the buyers. And
Really?
I'm seeing it maybe as interest rates go up, we're starting to see multiple offers.
Yes.
So on some things. Now, those are the properties that were already, they were great location, great condition, staged and ready for the next owner. So we're still seeing that, but it's really a balanced market, which is good for both buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
We're still seeing more homes coming out of contract because of inspection issues and some appraisal issues. So I think you and I are going to talk a little bit about that toward the end of the call with major systems and appliances in the home.
That's right. We will be touching on some of that. And whatever we don't touch, audience members, you have a say in what you want to hear. So as you're watching this episode, either as a live stream or on demand, feel free. You're very welcome. Feel free to drop in your social post and say, Denise, Bill, I want to hear more about X, Y, or Z. And we will certainly accommodate. Okay?
Absolutely. Except for line dancing in Nashville.
Except for line dancing. I just so you know, Denise, and I think you know this, I love to dance. So I can ballroom dance, I can line dance, or just freestyle. So anytime that I hear music, I always start to get into the mood. And the dangerous part is if there's a camera playing, you'd be watching some crazy stuff here or there.
I respect that. Years ago, I was at a fundraiser and I was in a conversation with a guy who's a world-renowned ballroom dancer. He's won several international competitions. He's an ophthalmologist here in Nashville, Ming Wang.
Wow.
And we were having a delightful conversation. And I apologize for that in the background. I can't turn it off.
That's all right.
But so Ming and I were having a great conversation at the edge of the dance. And I didn't know this. And obviously, he didn't either. But they said, and over the intercom, it came, Dr. Ming Wang, thanks so much for being here. And please lead us off on the first dance. I mean, I can't tell you, mortified. There's not a word, because I don't have 2 left feet. I have 3 somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he grabbed me and said, let's dance. And I know that my stomach was at my feet. It was just awful.
Yeah.
But anyway, he is very gracious and he never said a word. I know he wished he'd have grabbed the girl beside me to dance with. But anyway, my biggest mortification was that. So today, actually, somebody asked on LinkedIn, what is something that you've always wanted to do and you've never done? And mine was learn to dance.
There you go.
I need to do that, because you never know when another time you'll have to be on a dance floor with someone and you just don't want to embarrass yourself like that.
Yeah, true. And if I may lean in and share a secret with you, when it comes to partner dancing, as long as you have a great lead, the rest is easier.
Easier.
Yeah. All right, cool. So glad to know it's a balanced market. I think that's so important. And as you and I already know this, you know, the drum beat has already been beating, where we're at the cusp, all of us consumers, whether you're buying real estate or not, by the way. Even if you're buying a new car, you're using your credit to buy stuff, the cost of borrowing money, the drumbeat has started. The cost of borrowing money might get cheaper. So that's always a good thing, right? So having said that, I know this week things are changing with you on your side of the business. And that is you have to secure, this is the way I explain it. You have to secure that commitment in writing to work with a buyer, the so-called buyer agency agreement. Denise, how are you planning for that?
So Tennessee has always had a buyer agency agreement that you had to have. Okay. So before going under contract, you have to specify to the other side your agency, whether you're exclusive, whether you're designated, whether you're unrepresented. You have to, that is part of the contract. Okay. So it's not that very different for buyers and sellers in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. The difference is that it is something that an agent will have to talk to the other agent to get, mm-hmm. because you won't have the compensation won't be on the MLS. So that's a conversation that buyers need to have with their agent and get comfortable with it. Yeah. It's not that different from what we've had before, yeah. But there are some eccentricities that now buyers can ask, yeah. for a certain commission for their agent.
True. So, and with that, I can see you as if I'm one of your clients, either seller or buyer. I can see you having that conversation with me in the way that you do, where things are crystal clear, where things are transparent. So the fact that you've been used to dealing with, hey, we got to get a commitment in writing as to how you want me to represent you. Good for you. Yeah. I know some of your peers in other metro areas. I don't know whether they're struggling with it because of, change, or shame on them. They never did it. That's kind of scary, right?
Yeah. I mean, no one likes change because it gets us out of our comfort zone and we have to learn something new.
True.
And so change doesn't always mean bad.
Yeah, true. Change doesn't mean bad.
And we might look back on this in 6 months and say, wow, we're really glad that happened. Yeah. So, it just makes things more clear for a buyer. You understand who you're working for and how that person is compensated. Those are the 2 key things.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about representation, commitment to help each other, whether you're a seller or buyer. Let's bring this up. Let's bring up this property actually one of, what is it, two or three? One of two or three total condo units in a midtown neighborhood of Nashville that you are selling, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. This is a swanky condo unit. I mean, just looking at some of the pictures, Denise.
Yeah, it's a great building. It's a quiet building. It's as you can see the picture, I actually have two
Yeah.
that are this same exact. That's the lobby, really nice lobby, nice elevators.
Right.
You can see the carpet, but I
Right.
have two listings that are this exact floor plan.
Yeah.
One is under contract awaiting financing.
Yeah.
And then I have another one in the building that is a one of a kind, 2-bedroom unit that when the owner bought it years ago, he was able to, he bought it at construction. So
Mm.
2 units, and
Yeah.
he has incredibly large closets. He has a separate place for study. It's a very nice building, and it is located in West End, a couple blocks from Vanderbilt, right
Yeah.
the restaurant called Bricktops, which is a big hit here. Less than 2 blocks to Centennial Park and the Parthenon, so great walking.
Yeah.
There's 12 restaurants within a 1-block radius,
Yeah.
and it just happens to be where I live in a condo across the street.
Whoa, wonderful. So when I hear that, it doesn't surprise me, right? Your neighbors either to the left or right of you or across the street, they see you often. They realize Denise LaGrange, oh my gosh, I've seen your signs. And then they reach out to you and say, hey, will you be kind enough to help me sell or buy so that I can move to my next chapter, right?
Yeah, and I try to keep them updated when things in their building sell. I'll send something to the entire building and just say, hey, this is under contract, or this is coming soon, or this
Right.
sold, so
Yeah.
that you know what the value of your property is. And
Yeah.
people will call and ask and say, how much did it sell for? Was it cash? Was it a loan?
Of course.
People are curious. So it's good for me because it helps me to create new people, new clients.
Yeah, which is in the business that we're in, it's always a new friend,
Yes.
new conversation, new project.
Right. And just who's the next person that you can help, either selling their home or buying their next home.
Yeah, so true, so true. All right, so let's now shift gears a little bit. And by the way, before we shift gears, for what you just heard from Denise, she's got not just one condo unit, she's got a few you can pick from. And it's all within walking distance. So a call to action for those of you watching, listening to us today, if you happen to already be in Nashville, and let's get real, if you don't own a car, this could be the condo unit for you. Or if you are a young professional, that's looking for, I want to walk everywhere. I want everything to be within a stone's throw so that I can order DoorDash or Uber Eats. This could be the property you might want to consider. So toward the end of today's episode, we will make it real easy for how you can get in touch with Denise. So let's now pivot. And by the way, as we pivot, let me bring up something I'll use as a backdrop to our conversation. This next part of our conversation, let's play a little quiz. Denise. In your opinion, both real estate broker professional, but also a property owner several times over, what is one of the major mechanicals in a home that someone needs to be prepared to constantly maintain, or at some point you just have to replace it? Care to throw out an answer to that question?
Well, absolutely. Your water heater and your AC system, your heating and air conditioning is key.
Yeah.
Also, if you have faulty appliances, that's important. That I had one the other day that their dishwasher was leaking. It was a
Oh,
cellar.
no.
And they said, instead of trying to fix this, we're just going to replace it. We know
Yeah.
the new homeowner will appreciate it. And certainly it added value to the home.
Yeah, that's very true. So if I may, Denise, I know we chatted about this before we went live. Why am I bringing this up? Can I share with you my personal story? So here goes. Several years ago, before COVID, I've replaced water heaters. I have two. I had to replace both of them. And get this, people. It always happens when you don't want it to happen. It happened on us, Denise, on New Year's Eve. And as you already can imagine, Chicago winters, it was cold. And that day we didn't have hot water running in the morning. When my wife was about to, get into the shower, she got into the shower. Next thing I knew, she yelled, screaming like, "The water is cold." And so I'm like, uh-oh, what's happened? So I ran to the other bathroom fixtures, turned on the water, and it was unfortunately what I expected. The hot waters went bad on me. They died. So you're right. Those have to get replaced. So my point in bringing that up is, for those of you watching, listening to us, if you're currently a property owner, here is something I'm going to whisper in as a secret to help you. Have a plumber. Have a resource that you know and trust that can turn on a dime to help you, especially when this stuff goes bad the day you don't want it to go bad.
Yeah, a lot of realtors have, vendor lists that can
You're
help.
right. You're right. That is helpful.
Call your realtor and say, who do you use?
Yeah.
And those lists change all the time too, by the way.
That's right. So that's the one thing I wanted to share with you. And then this is very recent. This past weekend, we had to drop some bucks, Denise. We had to go for shopping a new refrigerator. OMG. First off, ask me how long we've had our current refrigerator. Take a guess.
10 years.
I beat that number. We've had it for 20 years.
Wow. Wow. That one held up well.
Yeah, it's held up well. Don't get me wrong. It's held up well, but about 7 years ago, we had some minor issues. So I had someone come out, take a look at it. And the one thing I remember this past weekend, or leading up to this past weekend, was when he said, "Bill, you'll know when your refrigerator is doing the slow death." And I said, "Well, how do I know?" He said, "You'll probably see some leaks near the base, the legs of the refrigerator. And that usually is because your compressor is dying." And I said, "Oh, well, why can't I just replace the compressor?" And he's like, "Bill, let me get real with you. By the time I quote you a new compressor, I got to help you drop it in, install it, blah, blah. You might as well just get a new one." Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad he told you that.
I know. That's why I kept him as a plumber. It's always the resources where, kind of like in our business, Denise, it's the resources, the relationships where they tell you the truth, they don't sugarcoat it, and they help you plan, right? Yeah. So all of that being said, people, we dropped some big bucks on a new refrigerator, and OMG, oh my gosh, the refrigerator technology has gotten so fancy. You can get Rolls-Royce refrigerators. We didn't get one of those, but you can get inexpensive ones. So my point is, if you're like me, you have to shop for a new appliance, major appliance. You got more than enough choices. It always boils down to what your wallet can bear. And I add one more thing to it: what your wallet can bear, but also what your space allows. Because the actual refrigerator my wife really wanted, we couldn't commit to that. And the reason is because I'm using the condo unit that you're selling, Denise, as a visual backdrop. It's because that same space, like in this picture that we have in our home for our refrigerator, would not accommodate the one that she really wanted. So I had to ask her. I said, "Honey, you got to compromise."
How did that go?
It went well. because I kind of sold her on, you're going to laugh. I kind of sold her on, honey, you got to compromise. It just won't work. And second, we'll save some money, not going to that next level that you want. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So let's wrap up today's episode talking about one more thing. I want to get your opinion. Can you maybe start to speak to this, Denise? And that is, for some of our relationships, some of our sellers and buyers, at some point in their lifetime, they may be having to sell a property as is, or they may decide to buy a property as is. What are the top 3 things you would say to someone that's considering that today?
So if it's a buyer, from the buyer side, the things to consider are making sure that you have an inspection so you know what you're walking into.
Right.
And just to clarify, as is means they're going to do no repairs, no update,
right.
Nothing.
Right.
And that making sure that you have the resources to update the property. You know, contractors are kind of hard to get. And then along that same line is make sure you have the resources monetarily. Make
True.
sure you have the money for that.
True.
On the seller side, I would say that be ready for some low offers, because you're definitely going to get some house flippers, some contractors that are going to come in and try to flip it. So get ready for some lower offers. They probably will be cash.
Okay.
And to understand maybe what's going on with your house. If there's some major issues, so that you're aware of what your offers may be and that you are advertising it as is.
Yeah.
So that encourages a totally different group of people to come with it.
True. Yeah. The advertising, marketing of it correctly with your help is spot on. And then, of course, let's always make sure we hear this. Pricing it correctly, if you're selling as is, important as well. That's what I think I'm hearing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And then flipping to the other side, if you're buying an as is property, let me lean in and share this with you. I think Denise already knows this. Can you buy a property as is? And if you must secure financing, can you secure financing to pay for any improvements, especially major improvements? The answer, by the way, is absolute yes. And rather than go into the weeds, go into the details today to talk about that, we'll save that for an upcoming episode where we'll tie all of this together. All right. So audience members, how can you reach out to Denise if you're looking at a midtown condo? She's got several. She got friends to her left, right, across the street that, want to sell these nice condos. It's real simple, people. All you have to do is scan the QR code. There you go. Denise is trying it out already. Scan the QR code. You will be able to connect with Denise online, ask to speak with her. And as I did several months ago, she will absolutely engage in a conversation with you to figure out, well, John Doe, Jane Doe, how can I help you? Let's talk about it. And along the way, if, of course, you may need financing because the drumbeat of borrowing money might get cheaper, scan the QR code next to my name, next to my headshot, and together Denise and I will be your dream team to help you get to your next chapter. So Denise, as we wrap up today, what do you have on tap for today?
So today I am starting to show homes to a couple who is moving here. Okay. I met them at a music party last year. Ooh, they fun. Took my card, forgot about it. They sent me a message a couple of months ago, said we want to use you for our home search. So we're looking in 3 different areas over the next 4 or 5 days. Wow. And finding their next home. Their children live here, and they want to be here when there's grandchildren. Yeah. So they're making their move to Nashville from Columbus. So
I love hearing that. I love hearing that. And I hear that more and more. I hear that more and more from, the baby boomer generation, where they're still young enough, they have, you know, strong relationships with their adult children, potential grandchildren, where they want to be closer. So I see that movement a lot. I agree.
What's on your schedule today, Bill?
What's on my schedule today? So after shooting this podcast episode to you, I have to run to Home Depot.
Refrigerator?
Well, no, I have to run to Home Depot to get a few supplies to prep the space for these guys to come in, put in the new refrigerator, pull out the old one. We're not keeping the old one. You know, it's end of useful life. As I told my wife, honey, no sense in keeping stuff that isn't gonna stick with us.
It'll leak in the garage too.
That's right. That's true. So we're not keeping the old one. Later this afternoon. Oh, you remind me. Great question. Later this afternoon, I'm actually shooting a recording with my HVAC contractor. And so, you know what, Denise, great that you asked me that question. After I shoot this recording with my HVAC contractor, we will drop his video in one of our upcoming episodes. We'll educate our clients, our relationships, to everything you want to know about HVAC, but was too afraid to ask.
There you go. I like the title. I like the title.
All right. Well, have a great,
Me too.
have a great afternoon, rest of your week. Good luck with these clients moving from Ohio to Nashville. They're going to love it. I know they will.
You will.
And I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks out.
Yep. Look forward to it. Have a great one, and may interest rates go down.
I know. Let's keep that crystal ball kind of warmed up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Contact your lender now.
Yes. All right. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.